guys, today we're going to be making a puzzle piece pinata. I think everybody knows how to make a pinata using a balloon and paper mache. We're going to do a little bit of different shape today. So we're going to be using these containers I just had laying around the house. It's from an old toy box. And to get the shape, we're going to be covering it with saran wrap. And we want to do that so the paper mache doesn't stick. We don't want to use a cardboard box or anything like that because then the pinata will have cardboard inside and it will be impossible to break it open. So I'm just going to cover every bit of plastic with the saran wrap. Okay, so now that we got that all covered, we're going to start covering it with our paper mache. So I've mixed up some flour and water. There's a lot of recipes on the internet out there for this. Really, I just threw some flour, added some water, mixed it up till it was about that consistency. But if you want to do it runnier, you can, or if you want to do it thinner or thicker, you can. And then we start dipping our shredded newspaper in and covering our box. So depending how many kids are going to be doing the pinata on how many layers of paper mache you want to do. So the first layer is just going to be, pretty thin layer. You want to do it on different directions. Put some diagonal, some horizontal, and just cover it all up with paper mache. Okay, so now that we have our first layer done, we have to let our paper mache dry. So if you live somewhere really warm, that's ideal. You can put it outside to sit in the sun and it'll dry in a couple hours. Where I live, it's chilly this time of year, so I'm just gonna let it air dry, or alternatively, you can put a fan on it to dry. So for our puzzle piece, we're actually gonna put two pieces together. So we're gonna need to do another one exactly the same. So it doesn't really matter if you just have square boxes or yours are a slightly different shape. That'll work fine as long as both of them are the same. So I'm going to go ahead and do this and we'll see you back in a few minutes. Okay, so now that we've done both sides, we're going to let those dry. We still have some goop left and I'm not going to throw that away. I'm just going to cover it with saran wrap. And if you do that, then you'll just be able to reuse it. It'll stay nice and wet for a couple days if need be. You might need to give it a stir, but otherwise we're just gonna let this sit and we will be back tomorrow. We're back, it's the second day. It's been about 24 hours and I'm here to put the second coat on our puzzle pinata. So it's cracked in places a little bit. Don't worry about that. That's pretty normal because it was a pretty thin coat. And it's also still a little bit damp, but that's okay too. Once we get it off of our base, it'll dry on the inside better. So I'm going to start doing that. And we're just going to do the same thing we did for the first coat. Just wet. Okay, we're back and I have the second coat all done. So I'm going to put this outside. There's actually some sun out today, so I'm going to sit it in the sun to dry. It's a lot quicker if you do it in the sunlight. If you can do that, if it's sunny where you live and it's not too cold, definitely outside to dry works best. So I'm going to do that and I'll see you when it's dry. Hey, we're back and I took in the pinata off the frame and now I'm just going to rip off the plastic. So after you do this, you're going to want to let the inside dry. It'll likely be a bit wet. And you want to make sure it's really dry before we put, because we're going to put the two pieces together. So that'll take, well, at least 24 hours. So we'll see you back then. Okay, and we have our sides completely dry. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just trim the edges of all the loose pieces. By no means perfect, but just get those kind of loose pieces of pieces off. And there we go. So now I'm gonna stick them together. Okay, so as you can see, this side's not bad. Like this side isn't even at all, but that's okay because the paper mache is gonna cover up any holes we see. So we're gonna put this together the best we can. And we're just gonna seal up the sides. So we have our mix. Oops, that broke. And you can actually put the pieces of newspaper on pretty flat, so it's gonna flatten out. And you're not gonna see that it was ever very crooked. We're done paper macheing our puzzle piece. We are going to leave this to dry for a few hours, and then when we come back, we are going to shape it into the puzzle piece it's going to be. I have the base done. So now it's all dry and nice and firm. We're gonna cut out our holes and add on some bits like it's a real puzzle piece. So this end is kind of bulging the way I did it, so I'm gonna cut out this side as a whole. So I'm just gonna draw it on. I'm gonna cut those out using a utility knife, and depending on how thick you paper mache it might be kind of tough to cut it out. So careful with these knives when you do that. We cut out the one end, so we made it in a puzzle piece shape and then just traced it and did the other side. So now we're gonna make the other pieces. So what we have is some cardboard. I just used an old can box. And we'll just draw a piece that looks like it would be for a puzzle. And we need 3 of them. And you can make them slightly different if you want, like the puzzles are. And then one more. And then we're gonna cut them out. And we need 2 of each. Okay, we're back. I have my pieces cut out of my cardboard, and I have another piece of cardboard here. So what I did is I made sure it was as wide as the side I was putting the piece on. And I've also just cut some slits with my utility knife, and that makes it just easier to bend. Also, if you had like a light cardboard, that would work too, but this is just what I have. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape it on to the piece. So here's our piece. We have some tape already cut. And put it on. And you're just going to follow the edge, taping pieces on. Okay? Just like that. When you're done, okay, we're going to do both sides and we'll have a piece that looks like this. And then this is the piece that we're going to be paper macheing on to our pinata. So we have our pieces done, we're going to paper mache them on. So mine are untaping a little bit, but that's okay because once they're paper mached on, they will stick quite nicely. So just cover them the best you can. And we'll see you back when these are done. Yeah, hi, we're back and we have the 3 knobs put on our puzzle piece. So it's really starting to come together. The great thing about it is you can make it any way. You can make 2 holes and 2 knobs or 3 holes and 1 knob. But this way it gives us lots of room inside to stuff it. So we don't want to cut too much away. So now to paper mache over this, I'm going to just stick it in a laundry basket to lay it flat. And this part takes a while because, actually that's too short. You need a nice long piece. of paper mache. And we're just going to wrap it around like that. So you're going to want to cover up the whole hole doing this method, but you're only going to be able to do parts of it at a time. Otherwise it's going to get heavy and droop. So maybe we'll even just do 2 strips at a time, dry it in front of a fan for a minute or 2, well, an hour or 2, and then do the next strips. Maybe 1 more. You can just kind of see what works. We'll do that. Yeah. And the more paper mache on the sides, the better, the tougher it'll be. We're back and our puzzle piece is all finished. So this is what it looks like. In the end, I think it looks pretty good, and once it's all painting, it's going to be a perfect puzzle pinata piece. So in order to figure out what we're going to do, I just found a picture online of like a homemade puzzle for inspiration, and I think I'm going to make a little cute little frog on it. I think it'll be enough of the frog that you'll know what it is, and it'll be nice bright colors. So I just bought some paint just at the dollar store, cheap paint, and I'm gonna start painting this up, and I'll see you back here when we're all finished. This is our finished pinata. Puzzle pieces are great because they're good for any age group and any theme. If you try making this pinata, comment below and let me know how it goes. Like and subscribe to this video. And if you want to see how we stuff the pinata, click in the comments below. There's a link to a video on our channel showing you just how to do that. See you next time.